All right, welcome to lesson number 7 in emotional science for VP Culture. And this lesson is going to be focused on wide focus, proactive emotions. So instead of being tight focused, we're going to be opening our eyes open to creating our own emotional landscape. And so these are a different type of emotions. We talked about reactive emotions, like we're way zoomed in and what's happening to us. We're really narrow in our perspective, like because we're just responding to our world and our circumstances. So in kind of a reactive way, subconscious emotions that are just happening. They might be important for us to recognize and learn from. So we observed them and accepted them and understood them. Worthwhile practice. But now we're going to take a different practice. So this is just looking at the now, right in front of me. This is looking ahead, being proactive. Where am I going to go with my emotional world? What kind of emotional world am I really facing? So it's taking time to be proactively introspective. So that's what we're going to be looking at. This comes from the work of Dr. Sue Johnson, and it's exploring the deepest feelings of being valued. Now, this is very significant because this is kind of the place where all your emotional world really should come from. If you start to cultivate this, even your reactions to other things, you're starting to train yourself to be less reactive, and you're training your emotional world to be more focused again on what is important, focus on where you want to go. So it's got that broader focus of what is this coming from? So let's look at in detail. So connecting to proactive emotions, it's basically asking that question that we've explored earlier about the one thing that motivates all people, which is being valued and valuing myself and valuing others. So these questions, do I value my work or do I feel it isn't valuable? If you haven't answered that question, then fundamentally, you're not quite sure where you're going. Ultimately, work should be about giving to others. So it's important that you understand that. Am I actively valuing others, or am I just avoiding others and avoiding valuing them? So a lot of times when we've given up on the situation, we stop valuing ourselves, we stop valuing others. So is that what state you're in? Or are you choosing to be taking a valuing perspective on life? So the next question, am I valuing my team in this situation? Now, that's a very important question to be focused on. You always want to be valuing teams, valuing others. When that energy that you decide to give to others, that's going to be a move towards kind of thought. And so you want to sort of prime yourself and say, my life is about moving towards others as best I can. Okay? So the final question is, do I see others' contributions as valuable? So allowing others to be valuable in your life, allowing them to approach you and contribute to your world and be a part of that. So these are all emotional questions that are focused on valuing, giving value, and being valued. There are other questions, but fundamentally, am I all about a person that wants to value others and be valued? That's the core of VP culture. And that's also the core of our emotional world, according to Sue Johnson. Every conflict, every desire, every action that we take should be revolving around this, not merely ping-pong reactioning to our world around us. So, the science. So we're going to look at a little bit up front. Again, Stephen Hayes is going to be talking about us moving into this more proactive world. He does talk about the acceptance part. But he's also talking about this commitment part, our commitment to doing the value work in our life, taking time to intentionally cultivate values and understand them. This is something that is totally within your control to do. So a good question, who or what has the key to your happiness? Are you giving that key to other people? Are you only going to react to what others think? That's going to be a difficult situation. You've given all of your control away in life. Or you could say, no, I own this key. I'm proactively creating my world by doing intentional, proactive, emotional work. That's what the key is here, is to hold that key and to actively use it in your life in a proactive way. that can be very healthy. So another scientific thing is in ACT is to pivot. So after we've done the emotional acceptance and the emotional identifying, we then pivot to a new location, pivoting towards intentional values. That's what ACT is. That's the commitment type of the technique. What are your commitments? Where are you going? That's a healthy emotional perspective. Instead of just letting your reactive emotions push you in a direction, you intentionally take proactive steps to go, what is it like me really to do? And how can I cultivate my emotional life to really amp up my decisions and my energy towards the things that I really want to go towards, which is people and valuing people. And so this whole methodology of taking this proactive emotional creation, you're creating your emotional world, you're trying to construct it. It's not that you won't have reactive emotions. We can never turn those off because they're autonomic and they come from our brain. But the more we do this, the more we'll be living in this type of emotional landscape, emotional world, emotional experience. It increases our job satisfaction because we've decided ahead of time that my life is all about valuing. I have met story after story of people who have changed their life perspective on because they've decided to set a course towards valuing. And it leads to job satisfaction. It leads to fulfillment in life. It makes you stress resilient. High performance. You actually perform more. We've talked about that. 20% better because you're emotionally intelligent. You're more innovative. You're free to be creative about the whole process that you're in. So all of these things come from proactive emotions. So we're broadening our focus towards where we really want to go. And that's something that no one can ever take away from you because you hold the key to that lock. All right, so now it's story time based on motivational interviewing again. So let's dive into this story. It's about Kim Lee. She's going to tell us about her experience of diving into her emotions proactively, working in a center with older people. What's that like? How did she create this world? Let's dive into her story.
Man, today was rough at the convalescent center. It feels like no matter how hard I try, nothing ever goes right. The patients are always demanding, the workload is overwhelming, and I'm just so tired of it all. But wait, hold on a second. Is focusing on all these negatives really helping me? It's like the more I dwell on my frustrations, the worse everything seems to get. Maybe I should try shifting my perspective. Instead of thinking about how hard my job is, what if I focus on the people I'm here to care for? Yeah, that might actually make a difference. Okay, so let's try this. Today, I'm going to make a conscious effort to value each person I encounter. Even if they're grumpy or demanding, I'll try to see past that and treat them with kindness and respect. It's not about me feeling appreciated, it's about genuinely caring for these people who need my help. Wow, what a difference. Despite the exhaustion, I feel satisfied. It's strange, but when I approach my work with a mindset of valuing others, it's like I have this well of personal value to draw from. It doesn't make the workload any lighter, but it changes how I feel about it. Instead of being angry and frustrated, I'm tired but content. It's like I'm making a positive impact, even if it's just in small ways. Maybe this is the key. Maybe instead of focusing on all the things that are wrong, I should focus on what I can do right. And what I can do right now is value the people I'm here to care for. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'll do.
So now moving into our group section where we ask some questions. Do you sometimes respond to situations in a reactive way? Next question. Question number 2, what would it take to intentionally create proactive emotional focus for yourself? Question number 3, how would it change your life to have your own personal source of proactive emotional values? Question number 4, How does it empower you when you are your own source of emotional value? So discuss these questions with your team. And we'll wrap up this section of wide focus on proactive emotions. In this lesson, we talked about pivoting away from reactive emotional states to pivoting towards creating intentional, proactive emotional states based on valuing yourself and valuing others. So we talked about, again, the different techniques to do this, questions that will help focus your mind on this and on how much this will actually practically help you and others become better leaders and better people and enjoy your life more. So that's lesson number 7, and we look forward to having you again in lesson number 8.